Hello chaps, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking all things rationing for energy. The government, they were really hesitant to ration people's energy in the home, just simply because it was possibly one ration too far. However, the first 3 winters of war were extremely bitter, not nice at all, especially the one that was 1941 to 1942. And I think the government, coming out of that in March, they made the decision that yes, they would implement rationing on electricity and gas, along with coal and paraffin. What they had done up to that point was basically sort of rely on the hope that households would ration themselves for the war effort. With that being said, I've been going through my make, do and mend, and there's a lot of leaflets in here. I will not be talking about money saving tips and things that they offer in this video, that's for another video, but for this one we're talking purely about the ration. What were you allowed? What kind of lifestyle would that give you? And how would that work today maybe? How could you implement wartime rations into today's living standards? So I'm going to be using primarily sort of 2 pamphlets from Make, Do and Mend. The first one I think was just released just after the energy rationing came in, and it is your battle for fuel, your battle orders, and it tells you here on the first page how much you got per fuel unit, and on the back page you get a table which basically you can use to calculate how many fuel units you're allowed. They do it by the number of rooms, where you are in the country. That's how they do it. Now, I don't really know how. I've given myself 4 rooms. I've given myself bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, sitting room. I think that's enough. I think that's okay. So that's 4 rooms. I live in the Midlands, so that gives me 100 fuel units. Every man, woman and child had a fuel personal allowance as well, and that was 15 units. Now, I think that's to get you through the 3 harsh months of winter, an extra 5 units per month, or just a little bit extra help, a little bit like what we had last year in Blighty, where Rishi gave us £400, or whoever it was that gave us £400 for the winter. It's a revolving door at this point, who knows. And then the other pamphlet, booklet, whatever you want to call it, is going to be the back of the book. That is Fuel Sense, and there's lots of really good tips in that one. However, that's not the video today. Today's video is the ration. So these are your kind of like what you would generally expect per sort of kilowatt cubic foot of gas. So between that, you can sort of sit down with this table. You know how many points you're going to work out, how many points that you're allowed, and then you can work out what that might potentially give you. Now, I have done that. My maths has not always been brilliant. I was really struggling to work out the central heating, like how can I get this central heating? Then I realised I'd given myself about 20 units too little. But, So a general template of what they suggest for a well-run home. So we're going to the first pamphlet. At the bottom, over the 2, at the bottom it says, remember that 3/4 of your fuel allowance is needed for heating rooms and water. Cooking takes about 1/5, and the rest is used for lighting, radio, etc. So, taking that on board, that's what I've done. I'm allowed 115 units at the top, 3/4 equates to 86 for heating rooms and water. What that generally looks like is that would give me, I mean, by the end of the day, I had so many numbers running through my head, it was crazy. I just, you know, I definitely couldn't have done this video after all that on the same day. So what I've found is that central heating, if you were to have your central heating on for 2 hours per day over a 6-month period, so that would take you from, I don't know, say October to March, April, that sort of time. You could have an hour on in the morning and an hour on in the evening. I find that in the thick of winter, it's best to put the heating on at about maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock till 6 in the morning. Not necessarily so that the house is warm. I mean, it won't get warm. An hour here and an hour there is not going to create a warm home, but it will keep the chill off. It'll also keep the pipes, hopefully, from bursting. The last thing you want to do when you're trying to balance the economics, balance your budget, is have to fork out for an emergency plumber bill. I do that primarily, and that's what I have done over the course of last year. I didn't do it every day, but when there was a threat of frost, like the pipes getting in that kind of danger zone, I put the heating on. I also have a bedroom heater, because I find that if the bedroom is cold, then I can't fall asleep. I just can't. So it's good to have the bedroom. That's 6 months again, 2 hours for the bedroom heater. So that would be 6 fuel units. That's 1 bar. Not 2, 1 bar. A Christmas bag of coal. I'm going to give myself a Christmas bag of coal. That's 1 fuel unit. That is half a quart. It's 100th weight, or you know, it's I believe it works out to be 25 kilograms. Bath water. They suggest that you have 1 bath per week in 5 inches, which comes to sort of about your knuckle. It's about here. What is that, a thumb knuckle? But anyway, there. Call it your wrist if you've got dainty hands. Yes, 1 bath per week for an entire year. That's going to run you up 4 fuel units. And the other 6 days, a 10-minute shower will run you up 6 fuel units. They did suggest that you have a bowl of water, not a sink, because the sink will deplete the water of its heat much quicker. But I'm certainly not going to be having strip washes in the thick of winter. Forget it. It's going to be a shower or a bath. I mean, to be honest, am I going to be able to stick to 1 bath a week? Of course I'm not. No, that's one of my few luxuries in life. I love my baths. So forget that. But I'll do my best. But at the same time, it's a big ask. All for the war effort. Moving on to cooking, that is 1/5, which for me equates to 23 units. A fridge, running a fridge every day all year, fridge, refrigerator, fridge freezer, whatever, 7 fuel units. Now, I have gas hobs and I have an electric oven. So the oven is going to take, if you get 20 minutes a day, every single day, that's going to come in at 3.5 fuel units. If you run a large ring hob for 30 minutes every day, then that's going to give you 8.5 units. I figured that, 20 minutes in the oven for warming your stuff up, or you could forego a little bit and then combine that to have a roast, was a good call. Half an hour on the hob every day to boil something up is probably a good shout, or again, swings and roundabouts. And then on the small ring, fuel units is 4 boilings of the kettle every day. So that is breakfast, lunch, supper for a pot of tea, and the 4th one for your hot water bottles. So, now the rest is your 5% of the rest. Gives me 6 points. Now, most of that is taken up with the washing machine. They did have this thing called a wash boiler. You could have it either gas or electric. And I've worked out that if you do one wash per week, whether it's cotton, whether it's synthetic, that's fine. You also are going to get, for your 4 fuel units, you're going to get a monthly towels, bed linen wash. You're also going to get an annual sort of spring clean wash of the curtains. So all of these things can be wrapped up within your 4 fuel units. So not bad going at all. Your radio, your wireless, you get 3 hours a day, near enough, and that every single day will come in at 1 unit for the year. Everything else, your iron, your hoover, your electric clock, whatever, you know, that's just kind of minimal. So it'll all just sort of, that just merges in. In summary, you're going to get central heating for 2 hours every day for 6 months of the year. You also are going to get an electric heater for 2 hours for 6 months of the year. So you could have heating every day in one form or another. You're going to get a bag of coal. You're also going to have 1 bath per week. Not happy about that, but you know, not keen on that idea. You're going to have your fridge on all year round. You are going to be able to either use your oven for 20 minutes every day, or you're going to be able to use your hob for 30 minutes every day. You're going to be able to boil your kettle 4 times a day, a full kettle. And that would get you through. You are also going to be able to listen to the radio, or you're going to have 3 hours of sort of entertainment, the news, that sort of thing every day. Plus, you are going to be able to do your laundry. I think there's 2 ways of doing this, 2 ways of approaching it, and it all depends on why you're approaching it. So if you're doing it for the money factor to help you with your budgeting, especially over this winter, I think in Blighty, I don't know around the rest of the world, but I imagine it's going to be as much as we think we were suffering last winter. I think we've seen nothing yet. I think as an awful lot of households and home owner mortgage people are coming off of their 0.1% fixed rates and moving on to 6% rates, we are going to see a lot of struggling out there for households. The prices certainly are not going down, they're just going up slower than they were, so that doesn't help anyone. And also, I don't think that Blighty is going to get the help that we had last year, you know, the £400 to help over winter with the bills. I really don't think that the country can afford it anymore when you read between the lines what they're saying. Another video. Today we get back onto this. So yes, so what we were saying, so there are 2 ways of approaching it. I think what you could do is you could do it by the meter readings, in which case, oh, that reminds me, Mummy called me. She said that the tariffs are going down tomorrow from the 1st of July onwards. So make sure you get your meter reading in. Yes, you could do that, and you could just follow it with the kilowatts and see if you're on track and see if it's helping you. But you could also do it a slightly different way, and you could use this table if you're wanting a more sort of authentic take on it. That's your average, so you can sort of set out how you believe your household will be able to run for the year, and see how we get on. And if it helps to save you pennies as well, more's the merrier. Now for me, I have gone onto my energy provider and I have screen captured my entire energy use for last year. So that's from the 1st of July last year through to today. And I was actually quite surprised by the results. I used 47 fuel units. 47, you know, when I could have been on 115. And I think that's mainly because I've been having instead of putting my central heating on throughout winter, I've been using my open fire, using gathered free wood. So that's what I've used kilowatt hertz one. Now, going in, I'm going to be using my template. I think I'm going to try and sort of stick to this as much as possible, and it'd be interesting to see just how much energy I do actually use, and whether the meter read, the kilowatt, how similar it is, or is it completely different. I have two caveats that I'm using. The first is that I have a water distiller. It uses so little that so little energy that I'm throwing it in with the iron. I mean, yeah, I use an iron, yeah. And then the other one is the TV. I believe the wireless, the 3 hours you get for the radio, you could also translate that into the TV. I do like to watch a lot of vintage, retro, old kind of TV shows. I think if you enjoy a vintage lifestyle and you enjoy a vintage mentality, then it's really important that you do immerse yourself in the products of that time. And one of the easiest ways of doing that for anyone around the world really is to watch the old TV shows, to watch the old news broadcasts, the British Pathé and, newsreels wherever you are. 3 hours of entertainment, because sadly when you walk out that front door, it is not 1942 in a way. It's not 2023. Oh my God, Rebecca, don't go down the rabbit hole. Just stay here. Just stay here in the safe place of Ration Book. Stay here. So there's flexibility within it, but not a lot. You can see why, if they had the opportunity to get out there and have some fun and save their fuel units for winter, then that's a good idea. That you don't have to cook every day. There were the British communal restaurants, and I imagine there was the equivalent around the world. There were also, the fish and chip shop and, the staff canteen for you to pick up meals outside of your kitchen. You could go round to each other's houses so that you shared. There was only the one hob, but it fed sort of two households, that sort of thing. So there was all tips and tricks to sort of eke out the fuel, and I'll go into that in another video. Whether you have a go at this to help you with your budget, whether you just do it for a bit of fun, whatever, embrace it. I hope that the video gives you enough information that you can sort of go and run with it and see how it'll work for your households. But for now, as always, love you and leave you.